Have you ever felt like your life isn't bad, but you're not exactly happy or satisfied either? You have a good job, decent pay, and everything seems fine, but something's missing? Wondering, is this the life I wanted? You lie awake at night feeling stuck and uncertain. Nothing's really wrong, but you suddenly feel like crying. That's exactly where I was. You know what success is supposed to look like, right? A stable job, good salary, reliable people around you, no major drama. And honestly, I'm grateful. I had all of that. I turned 30, married the person I love, landed a six-figure job, and had friends in the community. On paper, I had zero reason to complain, but I was still anxious all the time. Not miserable exactly, which somehow made things worse. That made me feel like I was the problem. But why wasn't I happy? I finally found the answer, and it has everything to do with your inner child. This was the life I always dreamed of, or so I thought. When I graduated college in 2020 with a fine arts degree, I felt like I was thrown into the wild with no real-life skills and an unimpressive resume. Nothing but short part-time jobs serving food and drinks. I was jealous of my friends who finished with a business or computer science degree and went straight into getting a full-time job making bank. All I could think of was one thing. I wish I had a six-figure job. So for the rest of my 20s, I spent time doing exactly that. Chasing that six-figure price tag. And I got it. My first product design job paid $85,000. Less than a year later, I got a new job making $95,000. Within 3 years of my short product design career, I made my first $100,000 salary. But there was one very important aspect of my life that I completely neglected during this journey. My dream, my fulfillment, my desire. You might think, oh, that stuff is childish and cringy, but no. This stuff is really important. I wish someone had stopped me to ask this question so I didn't come to such a rough landing in recent years. I didn't feel fulfilled. I felt hollow. When you chase vanity metrics like your salary, you forget to take care of your inner child. In this case, it was my desire to create, paint, and express myself. You see, when I first went to college for a fine arts degree, I had this naive confidence in me that I could make it as an artist. I actually don't think I even thought of it as making it or surviving the art world. I just knew that I'd become one. Then of course, reality set in after graduation. First with monthly rent, then with the furnishing of the home. And the expenses just kept on getting bigger. I wanted to sit in a quiet studio and paint. After all, that's what artists did, right? Big, spacious studio with natural light and a white wall, canvas, and paint everywhere. And you're the magician, putting down paint on those canvases, creating your very own world through art. Yeah, that stuff is fantasy, and I'm aware of that now. I've come to terms with the reality of artists in 2025 with the high cost of living in a fierce competition with more artists per population than ever before. Which is why I'm so thankful for my job that allows me to exist comfortably in this world today. But this visceral desire to create never disappeared. It's only been suppressed, and over time, I've just gotten better at hiding it. But you can only hide it for so long. In 2023, I hit the biggest wall since graduation. I was burnt out and so unhappy at work. I felt like a pixel pusher whose life's purpose was merely to execute on someone else's vision. I also realized that I had no real passion for product design. UI, UX, user research, these are all just words I throw around to make myself feel better when, in reality, this was not the stuff that excited me. Sure, I liked some aspect of it, but that's not what kept me up at night. From outside looking in, this might sound incredibly privileged, and I understand that. If you told me this even a few years ago, that I'd be miserable at a job making six figures, I would have not believed that. But once I got there, I realized that what I wanted was not the money at all. It was freedom. And then I realized there's no freedom on a borrowed dream. This train of thought led to even more resentment towards work, and it got to the point where I came home from work crying day after day. That was the moment I decided something had to change. Now, we can't ignore the fact that you need money to survive. We live in a capitalist economy, and money is a tool we use to exchange and signal values. However, what we can change is the way we live our lives by honoring our inner child's dreams. This is where I adopted the concept of micro-creativity. If you're like me, you work a typical 9 to 5, giving away 40 hours every week without missing a beat. We can't change that, at least not in the near future. So we have to make do with what we have. With the remaining time each week, we need to break it down into smaller chunks where we do the things that make our inner child happy. For me, it was painting. For you, it could be cooking, rock climbing, sewing, or anything in between. The key is indulging yourself in micro doses. We're not committing to paint for an hour every day. We're simply saying, I will find time to sneak in a quick 10 to 15 minutes whenever I can. It could look like scribbling some doodles during your lunch break, getting your sewing machine out so you can sew for 15 minutes the next day. You could simply go to an art supply store. For me, I picked a simple medium, colored pencil, because it required little to no prep time. All you need is a piece of paper to get started. In 2023, I started making colored pencil drawings on a stack of colored paper. I'm an oil painter and a watercolorist, so colored pencil was new territory for me. I didn't pressure myself to create a masterpiece. I'd always been hypercritical of my drawings and technique. This time, I decided to let it all go. My goal? To have fun. And oh my God, it was so much fun. It felt like I came back to life. I started waking up early to get in a couple hours of drawing before work. What began as a few minutes a day turned into hours as I built momentum. The more I drew, the more ideas flooded my mind. I go to work looking forward to coming home and drawing more. When I shared my drawings with coworkers, I connected with them on a deeper level. I learned how we all had dreams we'd forgotten or dismissed as unimportant. One coworker started dabbling in photography again. Another shared stories about his rock climbing adventures. I'd been in a creative rut for years at this point. Changing mediums and leading with curiosity showed me that I could create anything without judgment and have fun with it. My perfectionism had been stopping me from doing what I loved most, painting. Being a beginner again with a curious mind reminded me why I make art. It opened doors to wonderful opportunities. Most notably, I recently showed my work at a group show with Sadly Curated Gallery right here in Phoenix, Arizona. Here's one more thing. It made work more enjoyable. Staying in the job felt like lying to myself, which was so very mentally draining. Now, I see my job as a Patreon supporting my passion. Honestly, I'd love to grow this channel and run my own art business full-time one day. But for now, I found meaning and joy throughout my week that keeps me going. I paint before and after work, connect with local artist communities, and have something to look forward to every day. Painting also helps me process big emotions without words, which has been invaluable this year as I navigated major life milestones. It all comes down to this. Find opportunities for micro-creativity in your life. Carry a sketchbook everywhere. Watch for calls for artists and competitions. Wake up an hour early to paint. Before you realize it, you'll become a much happier, more fulfilled version of yourself. Thank you for watching. If you made it this far, please consider liking this video and subscribing to my channel. It goes a long way. I'd love to know how you're finding micro-creativity in your life, so leave your thoughts in the comment below. If you enjoyed this video, YouTube thinks you might like this next one, so go check it out. For those still watching in 2025, happy holidays, and I will see you next year.